Hey, what's going on here? Jamie Laszlo, Sea of Tranquility. We have here another episode of the Review Crew. Let me introduce the crew. We got a couple standbys here. They're always here. Ryan Scow's in the house. Alex from DM
Greedy.
Vinyl in the house. Mr. Reliable and Mr. Reliable number two.
That's
I
right.
am Jamie
Mhm.
Laszlo, as I said, and what we have here is a no theme. Well, the theme is new releases. So we each got a couple albums that came out somewhat recently ago. I have two from August I want to talk about, and they're both metal, and I'm ready to get into it because it's getting cooler outside, and the mornings are getting cooler. So I put away the Journey, I put away the Foreigner for next summer, and I start
Mhm.
pulling out the stuff with more meat on its bones, death metal, the doom metal, and that's what I got for you today: some death and some doom. And
Hell yeah.
Ryan, I don't know what you got coming up, but you go ahead and go first and tell us about your first album, though.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about a genre of music. I haven't talked about it all since we've been doing this show, and that is hardcore, specifically modern hardcore. I'm going to use the word modern with air quotes because this band is from the 90s, and this is their second album, but it is their first album in actually, exactly 30 years. Maybe not to the day, but to the year. They all had a debut album, came out in 1995. And then they released their second album, I'm going to say about a month or 2 months ago. Uh, so I'll put the disclaimer. I don't really talk about modern hardcore, because I don't really like modern hardcore. There's not a lot of it that really does anything for me. Nothing, nothing against anybody that likes that genre, but it just doesn't really resonate with me. When I was younger, there were some 90s bands that I really was really into. If you're into that genre, the New England, Massachusetts band Converge probably comes to mind. And there's a bunch of band like that. The band Caven, another New England band. So this band's from New Jersey. Uh, and I had no idea that they were getting back together or even releasing a new album because I'm not really in that world anymore. So it came out and I didn't even know it was a thing until it was out. I'm like, oh shit, these guys are back. That band is Dead Guy. There we go. Dead Guy. This is their second album. And their album is called Near Death Travel Services. Near Death Travel Services. And this is on Relapse Records. Both new albums are actually my choices are on Relapse, which was a coincidence. So yeah, so what did these guys sound like? So it doesn't sound like a lot of modern hardcore. These guys back in the day, I loved them because they had a very, which now is kind of common, but they were one of the first bands to do it. The guitars have a very dissonant and kind of like angular and jagged edge to them, which became more and more popular as time went on. There was a really big band that's probably much more famous that popularized that particular little niche called the Dillinger Escape Plan. I don't know if that name rings a bell to anybody. And then they kind of took off, and then there was a lot of other bands that took off with like really like dissonant guitars and just weird, rhythms and stuff. And it got ended up becoming like mathcore and stuff because it was not really proggy, but kind of had that vibe to it, and it became a big thing, right? But when Dead Guy did it in '95 with their first album, Fixation on a Coworker, it was kind of new. So they kind of they started it, they broke up soon after, they fucked off. Other bands took the ball and ran, as is often the case with these things. And then 30 years later, they're back. So I'm like, wow, I love the debut. I love the old stuff. Let's see how they're doing. And I'm pleased to report that when it comes to reunion albums, especially after decades, um, this is fucking 10 out of 10 stellar. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, man, sometimes bands will reunite, they'll come back and they'll put out an album, and maybe there's only one guy left or two guys left. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a real roll of the dice. In this case, it's the original lineup. It's the original lineup that did Fixation, as far as I could tell. And I'm thinking, well, how about bands that do that? So Seer Thungle came back with when they reunited, pretty much the original lineup, outstanding. The English new wave of British heavy metal band Satan came back, who I just saw the other day. Original lineup. They put out 5 albums since they reunited. Absolutely amazing. Just killing it. Sound as good as ever live in the studio. And it's the original band. It's like the original band, time warp from the original, whatever year they were still active. So the same is true with these guys. You have the original lineup. Uh, the problem here is that if you listen to the old album, you listen to this stuff, they were this is like pissed the fuck off music. This is really, even in a style of music, heavy music, hardcore metal, where you're like, man, that singer sounds really pissed off. The vocalist for this band, Tim Singer, might be the most pissed off sounding vocalist in the genre. This guy sounds like he's going to reach out of his speakers and just start crushing your throat. It's just like he had He found out his wife's cheating on him. He got fired from his job. He got in a car accident. He was walking home. Someone drove by in a puddle and got splashed up on him. Someone stole his wallet. Like everything bad could happen. And then he gets back and they're like, all right, time to record vocals for the album. Like that's the vibe this guy brings. He just sounds like he wants to fucking kill you. But the lyrics are very intelligent. It's very well written stuff. Very it's against like the concept of pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like every man for himself. Don't help your neighbor. Fuck if they're struggling, let them struggle. Oh come on, I did it. Why can't you? When I was your age. So it's very against that standpoint. So valid reasons to be pissed off. And man, this guy was pissed off back in the day. And I heard this new album, or I heard of it, and I'm like, there's no way this guy can still be this pissed off 30 years later, or convincingly pull it off. You can try, but there's no way he's going to convincingly pull off this fucking intense anger. And he does. This album, it sells it. Uh, it sounds great. What else we got here? So I would say, and this is from someone I don't really follow modern hardcore. So this is kind of like, boop, popped up like, oh man. Uh, if anybody wants to throw any comments and stuff of newer bands that kind of capture this vibe into the comments, I'd be interested. But like I said, it's just kind of I don't know, just not as really a genre I follow too much anymore. But this album is fantastic. As far as influences, I mean, I did a quick Google search too to confirm, but it's stuff that I always thought. The way the guitar playing when they started, there wasn't a lot of bands like this, but bands that from back in the day that kind of had a weird style of guitar playing. I'm thinking Voivod, I'm thinking Black Flag, I'm thinking like old noise rock bands like Helmet, Unsane, like stuff like that, like where the guitars are real heavy but have like an unusual like way of flowing. I'm not a musician, so I'm using shitty language here. But yeah, if you like modern hardcore, if you love the old Dead Guy album, if you like any of the bands that came out of that world, like later bands like Dillinger Escape Plan and all the million bands that ripped off of them, forward and forward, exponentially increasing number of these bands. And you were not aware that Dead Guy came back and released a second album. I highly, highly recommend it. This is phenomenally good. I was thinking about, I mentioned Sirathungal and Satan, different genres, but yeah, this is probably one of the best reunions I've heard. So I put it up there in terms of the quality of their reunion. When Sirathungal and Satan came back, they put out Forever Black and Life Sentence, which were just unbelievable. And of course, I'm sure we could name a couple other bands that came back and just absolutely fucking nailed it out of the park. And I would put this up there with them. This is that level of quality. So if you like pissed off, angry 90s style hardcore that, is convincing, good lyrics, good production, heavy, great performances, just really captures the meat and potatoes of that sound. I cannot recommend this enough. So, second Dead Guy album, 2025, 30 years after the debut, 10 out of 10 out of 10. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna get the vinyl. I just bought the CD because I wasn't sure. I'm like, this no, but then now that I've spent a couple weeks listening to it, I'm like, yep, this is what I wanted and more. So that's my first album.
You were saying that it's like he had the worst day and he was pissed off right before he did the album, and it reminded me of the movie Falling Down. Like if the movie Falling Down ended with Michael Douglas recording an album at the very end of the
It
movie.
it takes on a different tack because yeah, I see what you mean by that. And obviously you can really get into like the politics of falling down and if he's the good guy or the bad guy, and that's a whole separate discussion. But as far as that vibe of anger, it captures that. So I will mention, Tim was in another band after Dead Guy called Kiss It Goodbye, and same thing. His vocals, it sound like this guy wants to kill somebody. He's just so fucking pissed off. And that's not you. You can't fake the funk with that. Like you can't go into a studio, in my opinion, and just pretend to be if you're having the greatest day and like nail a vocal performance like this, where
Right.
you sound like just like your veins are popping out of your forehead. And then that's from coming from someone that listens to this like for a living, pretty much. Where a lot of these bands are pissed off and angry and shouting and whatever. But there's a difference between like a band like I don't know, like a Deicide, where it's got the classic death metal gruff vocals, and it's like, oh, it's death metal, Glenn Benton, blah blah. But it doesn't sound pissed off to me. It's just it's in line with that kind of music. So it's a different thing to hear this and be like, this guy sounds like he wants to fucking stick a pencil in my ear. It's a whole different whole different thing. And he does it very well. He sells it. It's so yeah, the falling down reference is not it's not out of line in terms of the palpable like anger of it. So
All right. All right, Alex from Beer and Vinyl.
That's right. Well, one of the things I love about the review crew episodes is that they're just all over the place, right? Like I love the being able to kind of jump from genre to genre. So my two picks today, one is certainly within the kind of Sea of Tranquility universe, and the other one is not. So I'll start with the one that certainly is. And I was actually surprised that there hadn't been like a video done on this, and so I was like, all right, well, I'll talk about it because it's kind of off the Laser CD Ken Golden camp a little bit. So the record I'm going to talk about is from Norway's Frode Andersen called Dark City. Um, Interesting, and Ryan, you'll be able to, I guess, probably say a little bit in the sense that it's blowing my mind right now how much music, especially progressive music, is coming out of Norway. Like it is absurd. I know it's not just prog, but like it just blows my mind. I mean, there's like 100 bands that all are fantastic. Like I can't keep up with them just out of Norway. So this is a solo artist that I guess this is his fourth studio record. Now, this is a big concept record that was inspired apparently by like a series of paintings or something that translated to Dark City. The same person who did the original paintings is the same one who did the album art. So very kind of cool, mysterious, Dark City sort of vibe. And this is a progressive rock jazz fusion record. Four-piece, a quartet on here. You have Frode Andersen, who's really sort of a king behind the keys, synthesizer, a lot of different sounds. You have the guitarist Chris McQueen on here, who's more known for being the guitarist in the band Snarky Puppy. So Snarky Puppy's kind of has become, I don't know, almost like mainstream jazz fusion in a weird way. But they've sort of been huge, at least here in the States, over the last several decades. And then rounded out by drummer and bass. But big conceptual record. You have a couple of these sort of musical interludes throughout, and then it's sort of capped off by the big the big title track, The Dark City. So, interesting because it does really kind of straddle that line between, is this prog, is this jazz fusion? For me, I don't know where to put it. Do I put it in my jazz? It's like that's why I'll just, I'm like, why do I even care where it goes as long as I know? But yeah, really cool stuff. And again, this was, and maybe this is why it hasn't been reviewed, or maybe Pete hasn't looked at it. Currently only streaming and on vinyl. So CDs are not available. I don't know if and when they will become available. But this has been out for a while now. Came out earlier, much earlier this year. And again, was just surprised no one looked at it. So I know there's a ton of prog people. I know there's a ton of jazz fusion people who watch this channel. This comes of highest recommendation from not only myself, but I think Ken Golden also called it a buy or die. So really great if you're into, again, progressive rock, jazz fusion. This is a fantastic record up there with probably top 5, top 10 of the year from me. So yeah, really great stuff. All instrumental with the exception of like, I don't know, there's like 5 seconds of sort of like some, I wouldn't even call it spoken word, kind of just like some backing track sort of stuff. But yeah, really awesome. And yeah, Norway just killing it as always. And progressive rock world, but this is a fantastic record. Frode Andersen, The Dark City.
Alex, how do you spell the name of that? I'm going to write that down right now.
Yeah, so it's spelled like Frode, Frode.
Okay.
And then more Andresen, so Andresen.
SCN. Okay. Excellent. Got it. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah. And it was self-released, so okay. It's just on the Frode Andersen label.
Okay. That's nice art. I like that.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. And in fact, it was funny on a video I did, I don't even know, it was several weeks ago. I was talking about the record, and the guy who actually did the artwork in the original paintings commented on my video. And he's like, I'm the guy who did that. And I was like, cool. Great job, sir. Whatever. But yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah. I always get, you mentioned Snarky Puppy. I always get them in Skinny Puppy.
Skinny Puppy. It's
very different.
Not even the same
we need
genre.
the mashup though.
Totally different genres too.
Other than the puppy, snarky, skinny,
Right.
But musically very different.
Look, Jamie, it was about a year ago that I realized that Los Lonely Boys and Los Lobos were different bands.
Oh, you didn't know?
Yeah, I don't think I ever thought of that, but
or the Verve and the Verve Pipe. I'm like, oh, they're different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were popular at the same
Bittersweet Symphony
time.
of Freshmen, right?
The Verb and the Verb Pipe were popular in the same years. That made it very difficult. I hate that song. Dun, 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 dun,
Oh.
dun, from the
That song
Verb.
sucks.
Oh man, but I don't mind their song "Simple Man" off the same album. Never heard the rest of the album, so I don't know which way Bittersweet Symphony or Simple Man, which way the other songs go. But that's another story.
That's right.
I can tell you it was a long time ago. This wasn't a reason because I'd be completely fucking stupid. But when I was younger, I didn't realize that Beck and Jeff Beck were different people. And they are very different people.
Oh God, are there any more like
Massively
that? I
different.
wonder.
Yeah. I think I was in my 20s. I'm like, wait a second, it's not the same guy. Oh, wait, not even the same decade.
Yeah,
Anyways,
totally different. All right, I'm going to talk about some doom metal first. This album is a newer type band, and again, it's only available on vinyl or streaming, no CDs. This is becoming a thing. You know, you go on Bandcamp, you're like, "Where's the CD?" Nope, vinyl or streaming. All right, I'll take the damn vinyl. This band is called Tarpit. Tarpit formed 2014. Oh, I got my lights on. I meant to dim those. From the USA, Portland, Oregon. Their style of music is doom metal, pretty much just doom metal. They speed things up sometimes, though. Scrying the Angel Gate is the album, and released August 1st, 2025. So there's a lot. I'm going to rely on my notes on these albums because there's a lot going on in these albums, and I don't want to forget any of it. This is somewhere between, there's elements of funeral doom, there's elements of epic doom, and there's kind of elements of mid-pace metal, all within the same song sometimes. The vocals, these are not extreme vocals, but they are a little raw. I think he could sing a little cleaner if he wanted to, but I think he keeps it raw on purpose, because at times I'm like, that's a very good vocal passage, and then he kind of goes into the lead singer of Spirit Adrift. I don't know if anyone knows Spirit Adrift. They started off as a doom metal band, and they kind of got more traditional. If you think of that band, and I know there's a lot of viewers out there that know that band, think of that lead singer, and he just stubbed his toe, and now he's going to start singing. That's how it sounds. These both of the albums I'm going to talk about, some of them's got some wacky song titles. Dagon, Dark Lord, Dwelling Beneath, parts 1 through 3. So you're going to get smart metal tonight with me on both albums. And it's got 3 parts. The 3 parts are not broken up on the streaming, not broken up on the vinyl with, that little dark line that separates songs. But you can tell when the parts end and the new part begins because of tempo change and everything. So it's kind of epic, and it's about, 8 minutes long? No, this one's 10 minutes long. So it's kind of epic. But here's when a doom band gets me, and it might sound stupid, but this is when a doom band hooks me. When the slow chord progressions, they're almost like riffs of the guitar, and I'm doing this low hum to myself with that guitar part. That's when I'm hooked. Like a really low hum that if you're standing next to me, you can barely hear me doing it. And that's what I do with this. I just hum along with those guitar parts, and that's fucking awesome. And this album's dropping right on time too, because it's autumn, and this is exactly what I like to listen to, like between now and February. Then you got Coven Vespers. That's a 3.5 minute banger. They actually speed things up. That kind of sounds like Motorhead in a way. Think of your average tempo of a Motorhead song, and that's what you got here. 3.5 minutes, which is way short for a doom metal song, and kind of up tempo. And it's nice because it breaks up the album. You're not getting 8-minute songs, 7-minute songs, slow, slow, slow. Right there, track 2, boom, boom, boom. You get the banger, then you go into something else, which that's what I like, variety. Jubilee. This is not a party song, but it's called Jubilee. What I like about this is that it starts off real doomy, but then it has like bluesy guitar licks that come in and add depth to the song. And then you got towards the end of this, there's some soulful singing as well, But at the end, you get this Hammond organ that just, they're not doing anything crazy with the Hammond organ. They're just kind of layering it in. It seeps into the song without you even knowing. It just seeps in, kind of like carbon monoxide into your bedroom at about 3 a.m. when you're sleeping. It just comes in underneath
It's to
the
die for.
doorway and
Slow
an
asphyxiation.
organ and puts you to sleep. Blue Light Cemetery. This adds like bits of occult rock and like horror. Is there horror rock out there? Because right in the middle, you kind of got this woman screaming like she's being tortured or killed or
The
something.
Misfits. Well, that's horror punk, but you know.
Right. Okay.
We'll split the difference.
Yeah, there's horror elements to this song. And it's not like disturbing that when the woman starts screaming in agony, because it's kind of cheeky. It reminded me right away of this album I had when I was a kid, Halloween sound effects, sounds that make you shiver. And there's some sound effects on here. I think it's called like Dracula's Victim. And she's like, oh, oh, screaming
That's
the whole
not fun.
through. Yeah, it's kind of like that, cheeky stuff. You know, nothing to make you feel uncomfortable when you're listening to it. Blessed King of Longing. You kind of feel like what you're getting here with the names of the songs. Sticks to the blueprint of a lot of this. Tempo changes, moodiness, big guitar riffs. And then the Scrying the Angel Gate, the title track, super cool, reminds me of Chemist sometimes. And I really like Chemist. And they're able to keep this album kind of clean, but kind of raw at the same time. And that's, man, most of the time I just love balance, and these guys balance a lot. Both of these bands I'm going to talk about balance a lot. So, and that one also has that carbon monoxide Hammond organ seeping in at the end. So yeah, I love this album. This is their second one. This is their first one, and it's called Tomb of Doom. You can get this one on CD. I ordered the new one on vinyl, on blue vinyl, and this release smokes. And they sent me this for free and another one for free, a digipack. So I sent the digipack to Pete Pardo. So you'll be getting that any day. This one is almost as good. So if you want to get that one, I think that was 2019. So there was some time in between albums. To go to the report card, I was torn on my grading because I'm thinking, do I grade these on how I think and how I think it should be, even though it's not perfect, but I don't want it to be perfect? Or do I grade it on how other people will think, oh, this sounds too dirty or something? Or do I come in the middle and average it all out? What I think, what someone else would think? I don't know. So I had B plus, because I think on the average, some people would say C, some people would say A. I was like, fuck that, I'm going to give it an A minus, because I think it's an A minus. It's not perfect, but I don't want it to be perfect. Songwriting, A minus, because these songs are really epic. You know, it's doom, and it doesn't get boring at all. Musicianship, B plus. The guitar is really good. When you're playing slower, it's hard for me to say how great you are. But they're obviously, when you listen to it, they obviously can play their instruments. Vocals, again, a little raw. I was going to do B plus because it might be raw for some people. But you know what? It sounds, for this style of music, A minus. It's where I want it to be, me. But I can see someone going, you know, if you like more of like Lou Gramm style, cleaner vocals, this is not extreme vocals at all, though. Scratches that doomy itch I get in the fall. A plus. Yes, I've been putting this on every morning. You know, I let the dogs out. I got to go outside. It's been like 46 degrees outside. I got to make sure Miley poops and doesn't come in without pooping. So I'm out there for 10 minutes. Shake off the cold, 6:30 in the morning, still dark outside. Boom, this thing goes in. So there you go. Check that out. Download it if you need to. Buy the CD, buy the vinyl, whatevs. So there you go. First one's done. Ryan.
Yeah. I was
All
just
right,
quick. I was going to add, you know, Jamie, because you said that was their second record. Their previous one came out in 2019, and they formed in 2014. And so I'm like,
yeah, it says active since 2014, I believe, on their page. So it took them a while to get an album out, I think. God, I hope it's 2019 because I told them I'm doing this review, so they're watching. Son of a bitch! I'm gonna make sure it's 2019.
You're gonna have to send it. You're gonna
I
send your
can't
promo
read this.
package back.
Try reading that.
I can see the reflection.
Yeah, exactly. But if I'm wrong, I'll let it be known after Ryan's.
You know, the album gets some positive press either way.
Right.
That's right.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, well, I'm going to stay on Relapse Records, but we're going to move across from New Jersey. We're going to cross the ocean and go to Dublin, Ireland for the second choice. Also, a band's second album. This band started on one of my personal favorites, Invictus Record Productions, also from Dublin. But for the second album, decided to make the jump to Relapse. And it is black and slash death metal. I'm going to try to hold the album up here, but the cover is I mean, the cover art is cool, but it's very dark. So I don't know if this is going to work. That's kind of hard to see. You might have to
Is that water?
Yeah, it's a guy standing in the water. And
Okay.
that logo, well, good luck. So the band is Malthusian, and the album is called The Summoning Bell. So this is, like I said, black slash death metal. And it's black slash or black death metal in a style, again, that I don't really listen to much anymore, which is where it's very discordant. And instead of like focusing on like, kind of old school, chunky, heavy riffs, it's very like, very long songs where I don't want to use the word washed out, but the guitars are very dissonant. I guess that's the best word for it. And there's been a lot of this stuff over the last 10, 15 years. Sometimes people describe it as like death metal, like a wind tunnel or a cave, like this heavy reverb, heavy reverberations, all the dissonance. And it kind of gets lost, to me, it gets lost in the sauce. Like, wow, there's a lot of noise happening, but it's tough to like pull coherent songs out of that sometimes. And I just kind of lost my taste for it. So when I heard this album, I really liked their debut. I was pleasantly surprised because they keep that intact. In true to form with that style, the songs are very long. There's a bunch of songs here over 6 minutes, one's over 15. That's tough to do with black and death metal. To write a 15-minute song, make it stick, and not just make the listener like, oh man, did I go get the mail? Did I leave the stove on? Did I lock the door? It's tough. It's a tough thing to do. It's a lot tougher than like jazz or prog, where there's more of a natural ebb and flow. You can slow things down. There's more natural dynamics, so the song can take you on a journey. Where if you're playing a style of music where things are always kind of on 11 and there's no peaks or valleys, it's tough, right? But these guys pull it off. And I'll go into the reason why. The first thing is that the production is 10 out of 10 perfect. It was done by Greg Chandler from the English doom band Esoteric. He owns his own studio in England called Priory Studios. Sounds great. The kick drum, it's like someone standing there and punching you in the chest, which is awesome. A lot of times the kick drums in this kind of music will get buried a little bit, but you need it, especially if the guy's doing rapid-faced double bass drumming, double kick. And actually, before we started filming, Jamie and myself were talking about power metal. And I said one of the things I don't like about a lot of modern power metal is the drummer will be playing double kicks really fast, like, but there's absolutely no impact behind it. It's like a typewriter like 3 rooms away, or like a you hear like a woodpecker down the street. Like, oh, okay, I can, there's a lot of beats per minute there, but it's like, no impact. If you're gonna do, if you're hitting a kick drum, it's got to be solid. So this guy, it's like you constantly being punched in the chest. So when he decides to up the tempo and really kick both pedals in, you get the impact from it. So there's a lot more impact to this music. They're not afraid to throw these really big, heavy, lurching, like headbanging riffs at you. Like, oh, there it is, And then I'll go into other sections that get a little more, spacey, like I said, dissonant. But they'll switch things up and throw these big, lurching, heavy riffs at you, which is, I don't want to use the band Neurosis as a comparison, but it kind of reminded me of the band Neurosis. They throw these monstrously heavy, crushing riffs, more of like 90s Neurosis, because they kind of got a little off. They went a little more dissonant too. But if you think like the band Neurosis from the 90s, like Through Silver and Blood, Times of Grace, like those albums, like, man, this is like the heaviest shit ever. And that's the thing with some of these albums now in this style. I listen to it, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of noise here going on, but like, where's the impact? Where's the, where's the teeth gritting feel that the style of music should give you? If it doesn't, I feel like you're kind of losing something. So it does have that coherent forward momentum. The songs stay engaging, which, it should be a given, but a lot of times it's not. As far as the people in this band, it's almost like a who's who of folks from different bands from England and Ireland. If you know the English doom band Conan, shares the same drummer. The Irish band Primordial Their singer Alan is in another doom band called Dread Sovereign. Shares members with them. Shares members with the English death metal band Acrecock, who have been around for a long time. English death metal band Grave Miasma, been around a couple of years. And they also share a member with one of my favorite bands ever from England, Adorior. So there's a lot of different guys in this band that are all over the English and Irish scene, which is cool. All of these other bands are great too. Like I said, the artwork's kind of hard to see, but the artist was Mitchell Nolte, so definitely worth looking up. It's really, really cool painting. And one of the things about this kind of death metal is if it's worth like if it's blasting in a car metal with the windows down or headphones metal, like when you're kind of going to sleep, because it can work both ways. There's some bands in this style that are more when they get more dissonant and abstract and spacey. If it's done well, cool, but like this is more headphones metal. I'm going to sit back and relax. And some stuff is just like like I don't know, like Morbid Angel or Deicide, where it's like driving in the car, summertime or fall, windows down, blasting music. This album kind of scratches both itches, which again is kind of rare. Not a lot of bands can like walk that edge and kind of like, have a nice 15-minute weird spacey death metal song and then like fist banging, like, intense headbanging kind of stuff too. So I'm gonna rate this one 10 out of 10 too. I like this a lot. I liked everything they've done so far, but to me, this is easily their best work. But they had a couple EPs, demos, first album, which was I think I want to say 2018 was their debut. So I mean, like a lot of bands, like I don't know how much COVID affected everything, writing, recording, but it's not uncommon in my opinion to see a band that took a couple year break and COVID just happened to be in the center of that. So we'll give anybody like a little extra slack for that, if it's been years and years and that was a reason. So, but either way, if you like black metal, if you like death metal, if you like any of the bands that I mentioned that these guys are in, if you like stuff that's just really heavy and impactful, if you like old Neurosis, anything like that, I would recommend the second. There's that glare again. Malthusian album, The Summoning Bell on Relapse Records. The band is from Dublin, Ireland, and they are awesome. There you go.
All right. Let me add, it all came back to me right after I was done with my review. 2018, the first album came out, but they did do like a couple, like 3 or 4 demos and released those on Bandcamp before that. So they had 4 demos, they did an album, and then they doing this album. This has the demos on it as well. The one I sent Pete does not have the demos. I kept the demos. So, all right, Alex.
Cool. Well, like I said before, this one will be slightly outside of the normal SOT universe, but again, that's what makes these fun.
Right. That's what we're here for.
Right. And so this is a band that has been around now since the 2014, 2015 or so, and has really sort of been one of the leaders in the kind of retro soul contemporary R&B revitalization that has happened over the last, gosh, at this point, 20 some years. If you think about, labels that were started like Daptone Records back in 2001, and a lot of these, again, newer bands that are coming through that are kind of channeling that, sounding like a 60s record on Stax or something like that, and kind of focusing on that songwriting and that production. And to me, one of my absolute favorites, if not my favorite, is Duran Jones and the Indications. One of my first review crews, I actually did a record that came out this year from a jazz trio called Okonski. On the Coal Mine record label, supporting a sweater. But I say that because the Okonski Jazz Trio is actually the Indications part of Duran Jones and the Indications. So they're one of the first bands that were signed to Coal Mine Records. Actually, contemporaries at the time were Duran Jones, the Indications, and the Black Pumas. And so, Jamie, I know you're a fan of the Black Pumas. They were kind of around that same time and on the same label before they kind of went off to larger labels. But this is the most recent record they've put out, their 4th studio record now, called Flowers. This came out in June. And I mean, this is like a powerhouse of people who like that old school soul and R&B of the 60s and 70s. I mean, similar arrangements and production style, and everybody is singing, amazing harmonies. The arrangements are incredible. A lot of the, whether it's string sections or horn sections, whatever it is. This, in comparison to some of their other records that they've released, certainly their previous record that came out back in 2021, I believe, leaned a little bit more into like not disco, but like more disco funk soul, sort of, a lot more like kind of like, oh, let's go dancing. This record, I'll say this, and I don't know if anybody's ever described a record like this on Sea of Tranquility before. This might be the sexiest record of the year, if not the decade. This is either an early Sunday morning, like I'm just getting up, I'm just trying to, get my life together. I want something a little bit smoother on, or this is the late night kind of cocktail, like I'm just chilling. Sexy record, a lot of ballads, but again, more of like the classic soul ballads. Duran Jones is lead vocalist, but he shares a lot of those lead vocals with Aaron Frazier. This was a band that started. They met in school at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. Two of the members were music students, and then Duran Jones came in getting his graduate degree in saxophone studies. And so they all met there and then just sort of took off from there. And so a lot of them have solo careers now. Duran Jones himself just put out a solo record a couple years ago. Aaron Frazier has become a pretty successful solo artist within this genre. And same thing, I mentioned Okonski before.
I got it on right now. I'm curious.
Heck yeah, who does the jazz?
You said sexy, yeah.
But it really is like, I'm a sucker for music that you put on in 2025 where you go like, what year is this? Like what, because that's just not what we're used to hearing. And so I love this stuff. Jamie, hey, listen, if you love what you hear, man, get your ticket to come with me to see him at the Newport in November. And it's going to be a good time. They're on sale, 50% off this weekend only. But yeah, for those old school soul, R&B, contemporary, like that retro soul vibe, an amazing record. This has climbed up the charts for me. Love that album cover too. I will say, you know what I hate? I don't know about you guys, but now every time I love an album cover, I have to say, yeah, but is it AI? And there's part of me that's like, I don't want to know. Like, just don't tell me. Like, I just love it. Like, it's just a beautiful album cover, and it really does sort of.
I gotta check.
Record.
I have to.
Right. It's like,
well
yeah, the good person's like, is there an artist? Like, who did the art? Like, all that type of stuff. But then the other part of me is like, I don't want to be disappointed when I learn it's
Apparently,
AI.
we're at the point now where we have to do that with musical acts. Is this band real or not?
You could still tell, but it's getting tougher, which means a year from now, if we revisit that conversation, it's going to be almost impossible.
Yeah. Of course,
I don't like to think about that.
Right. You're going to have to check if they're touring or not. I don't listen to any band that doesn't tour.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a valid way to check for sure.
Love it. So yeah, there you go. Duran Jones and the Indications and Flowers.
I'm looking that up right now.
Smooth.
Yeah. I sampled 2 songs real quick and I dug it.
That's right.
So it's in my memory now of my Yahoo Music streaming app. So it'll be there.
Yahoo Music streaming?
Yeah. Yahoo. I didn't know.
Yeah, YouTube. Sorry.
Okay.
YouTube.
I was like, what's next? You got Hotmail got a streaming service too?
Yeah.
AOL.
Yeah. Nobody.
Over a 14.4 modem.
Yeah, like, find me on MySpace,
Google said, get out of here, Yahoo.
All right, I got it queued up. I'm going to listen to that afterwards.
All right. Well, yeah, I like that we talk about different things on this show. That's why we're here. I mean, You're lucky you're not getting me reviewing the new Sabrina Carpenter. All right.
At this point, you might as well. Cover a wide variety.
It got delayed. It was supposed to come yesterday, but it's coming today. It got delayed.
I figured you would have gone to the record release party, Jamie.
No, I don't go to record release parties. Too old to get out of the house to do that and stand in the middle of a record store and just listen to an album. Well, this is good. Yeah, you like?
You have a seat? You have a folding chair? No, I'm going home.
Right.
I'm sure you would have fit right in with. You would have fit right in with the demographic.
Of course, that used kids. Greg will say, "You want a beer?" There's beer in the fridge, so at least you can have a beer. All right. Now on to some progressive death metal that's coming out right in time for me, and this is a good one. This band is called Farseer. Farseer, formed 2016. They're from the USA, Chicago. They're a Chicago band. Their style of music, progressive death metal. In their the list of genres on their Bandcamp, it says like stoner metal. It took me about 6 listens to start hearing that stoner metal influence in there. Yeah, I guess so with the guitar. If you take away the vocals and in some of the songwriting a little bit, those riffs are a little bit like Mastodon, so I see where they're coming from. You really got to search with your ear to hear that, I
Did he
think.
mean like maybe they just smoke weed? Because every death metal band I know smokes
Right.
weed.
Yeah. And there's spacey parts too, so it's kind of like, stonerish like that at
Mhm.
times. The album is Portals to Cosmic Womb, not Portals to the Cosmic Womb, Portals to Cosmic Womb. Released August 22nd of 2025.
Wow.
Great album cover. I love the album cover. There's the guy with the Cynic t-shirt on, so you kind of know what you're getting with this band when you see this.
Jamie, what label is that on?
Self-released. And you
Self-released.
only
Okay.
get it streaming. So I like the album cover so much that I made my own CD. That's what, when I like the album cover a lot, I make my own CD. And when it's not available as a physical copy, that's what I do sometimes. I'm doing it less and less though. But I have a feeling this is going to be their last self-release album. I think somebody's going to be picking them up. Reminds me of last year's album by Ancients. I reviewed that last year on Sea of Tranquility, where it has that progressive feel, or maybe even like the band Dune, where the U is a V, progressive, deathy, hardcore a little bit. But Dune has a lot more stoner elements that this band doesn't have. I'm very picky about my death metal at being at age 56. The less guttural the vocals are, the happier I am. The more clean. I don't want pristine production, but I like it to be a little balanced in the production, and that's what you get here. You got a little bit of fuzz in the guitar, but there's a cleanness to some of the guitar parts as well. The singing is extreme, but it's somewhere between death metal and black metal. Like Michael Alkerfeld from Opeth, kind of like that, where it's not extreme guttural. Yeah, I got a lot of notes here. I'm going to rely on notes here because there's a lot going on here. And first song, Supreme Note of Suffering. Oh, these song titles. These are song titles you just don't remember. It's not like Iron Maiden, The Trooper. You hear it once and oh, I know that song, The Trooper. Did you hear The Trooper? The Trooper rocks. You don't go Supreme Note of Suffering or Endless Waves of Obliteration. These are just things that don't stick in your head, but that's all right. First song is a great opener. You know what you're getting with the vocals and the progression of the music and the time signature changes and the guitar interludes and all that stuff. But Endless Waves of Obliteration demonstrates everything great about this band and this album. This, again, their second album, both streaming only. Let's see what I got here. Intense parts, the moody parts, the progressive parts, the guitar passages weaving in and out of those dynamics as the song continues. 8 minutes long, the longest song. The shattered orb signals the erasure of parallel timelines. That's track 3. So you're getting smart metal here. These are like smart guys. This actually starts with a vocal hook, kind of like a sing-along proggy death song. You might have to Google the lyrics to get the lyrics, but you can sing along once you know the lyrics. Actually, I would say you can understand about 40% of what this guy is saying. So it's not like so intense you can't make out a lot of the passages of what he's singing. Gentleman's Bookshelf starts off mid-pace, but then it goes into this groove that most metal bands would die to come up with. Like this, I cannot believe this is their second album with the songwriting, the production, and the ideas they're having. They in the secret ingredient, I want to get his name here. Cal Curtis is the drummer. Secret ingredient. He knows when to keep it simple, and he knows when to go nuts, and he knows not to play it all, when not to play it all. Secret ingredient right there, but everyone else is really good. This song has parts that are pretty too, like a good 2 minutes, minute and a half, to where the point is I'm listening to it while I'm working. You get sucked into your job, you're working, and the pretty part comes on, and about 30 seconds into it, you're like, what the fuck am I listening to? Oh yeah, that proggy death metal album. Shit, I totally forgot. The abomination renders the poor man speechless. Fuck, man. That starts off pretty as well before it kicks in. And you listen to this song, and it sparks my idea of, you listen to this album and you just know that these guys know what they're doing. They're not musical idiots. They're smart, with their lyrics. They're smart with their songwriting. They're smart with their playing. They're a well-oiled machine at this point on album number 2. And Denary House starts off as a straight-ahead death metal song, but this band has the uncanny ability when they're playing to stop on a dime, go into something else, maybe a moody piece, come back and rock, and make it all make sense. You would think this is like album number 4 from this band, well seasoned. So, yeah, this band is epic. I really like the Ancients album last year, and they're coming to Ace of Cups, by the way, Alex. Yeah,
I'll be there.
What's it called again?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's cool art.
If you like that one, you're gonna love this one.
Okay.
Yeah, there are no clean vocals though on this. It's not like Opeth where they mix it.
That's fine. That. I'll be honest. Like, my only issue with this record, not to talk about this record, but my only issue, I wish it was all unclean vocals. Like, right. I wish it was all death growls.
And you're gonna like this one a lot. Okay. Report card production, A, especially for being self-released. Songwriting, A. It could be A+. I don't know. A. Musicianship, A across the board. Vocals, I'm giving it an A- only because I'm curious. I love his death vocals. I'm curious if he can sing clean. I don't know. And this is much better than the first album. The first album's good though, but this is next level. How badly they need to be picked up by a record label. A+. And they need to go back, whoever picks them up, and re-release their first albums on vinyl or CD or something too. So yeah, these guys are really, really good. I've been listening to it all week. I've been listening to both albums. I wake up, I listen to one, then I listen to the other. I wake up, I listen to one, I listen to the other. Great combo. It's good to start with the Tarpit and then go into this one.
It's hilarious, Jamie. I looked them up on Instagram, and they have like a total of like 630 followers on Instagram. So, but their description is psychedelic, heady metal conjured from the cosmic bog.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan, you like your death metals a little bit more dirty. There is a dirtiness here, but I don't know. You have to listen to it.
I'd have to listen. I like you said, I'm picky too. I'm just picky.
Right.
Depends on the band, depends on the album, depends on my mood.
There's no way you'd listen to it and go, these guys suck though. It's
just, no, and I usually don't think that. I just like, so I'll hear something, like, this is good, but it's not for me, but
right,
then you go back to it, you're like, okay, now it's whatever it is, so I'm making little notes here, so as we go through it, I will listen to all of these things.
All right, cool.
But I'm listening to the Sexy album first.
Yeah, the Sexy album. That's the only time I ever listened to an album while somebody reviewed it.
I'm very curious. I have it queued up on my phone.
I was like, you might need a shower afterwards. A nice cold one.
That's all right. It means it's good.
It's like a coffee album, a coffee and a biscuit album.
It is beginning of the day or late at night. Like
or it's a martini or a coffee. Not both at the same time.
Right. Let's look at a couple singles because at least one big one came out recently. Bury Me With Your Screams by Trivium. I liked Trivium about 20 years ago for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting the same old with these guys. Let's scream core. And now let's have a hook where we sing clean. Now let's go back to screaming. Then let's go back to the hook. All right. I've heard it a billion times and there it is again.
I saw those guys back in 2011, 2012, opening for Dream Theater. That was a little bit of an odd bill, but I think they might have been Roadrunner at the time, so I think that may have made sense. But
it a little froggy,
a little. But Dream Theater fans were pretty stupid. But I'll own that. But it's like there's not a lot of Dream Theater fans who also love Trivium, so it was a bizarre.
A little silly, yeah. What's their one album, Shogun? I think that gets a little froggy. I think it's Shogun. I could be wrong. Canyons by Howling Giant. I listened to that like 2 weeks ago, and I forget how it goes. But I remember thinking it was decent. If you know Howling Giant, they've been around for a couple decades. Infanticide AI, Testament. There's your big one. Have you guys heard this one?
Heavy.
Sounds like modern day Testament. Billy's doing the death growls here and there for a second, bringing that back from like The Gathering and what's the other album that like what's their death metal album?
Demonic, which
which
is my least favorite Testament album, but The Gathering is my most favorite Testament album. So now I haven't heard it yet, but now I'm intrigued.
It's good.
Yeah, this is good. Testament, modern day Testament, you know what you're getting, and that's what you get. Just a little heavier. And then Cadaver, this is interesting. Cadaver Lies. I didn't even know this was coming out. Cadaver just released an album 4 months ago, and it was kind of like a power pop album. Now, this is like a heavy stoner rock band that they've been changing as they go along, but no one saw a power pop album coming. And everybody hated it. I think it's kind of decent, for what it is. I don't care if a band changes their sound. So I thought it was decent. Now, 4 months later, they're coming out with this, and it's like more rock song. It's almost like them saying, oh, you know that album that came out 4 months ago? Forget about that. Sorry about that. We're going to rock again. So 2025 would be remembered for this one, not that one. Sorry. So, yeah, it's good, though. And that's coming out this fall, the album. And Let's Get Physical is my Facebook page where we talk about everything physical media, from CDs to albums to books to magazines to figurines to whatever. So there it is, boys. Another one in the books. We got a big game here. Texas and Ohio State. I know Alex wants to get to. I'm not a Buckeye.
Bloody Mary is calling my name.
Yeah, I'm not a Buckeye fan, but I will be watching. And I'll probably be rooting for Texas just for the hell of it, just to see everyone around the area.
Just to watch the world burn.
Yeah, just to watch the world burn. So check us out on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're even on Instagram these days all together. All the damn time. Click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button for this episode if you like it. No mercy likes, because we don't like mercy likes. We want that genuine like hit. Check out the merch page. Yeah, we want it to come from the heart. Merch page where you can buy some stuff. You can go on the Cameo page and flip Pete some money, and he'll do whatever you want these days. He might be strapped for some Cameo money, so he might juggle for you at this point.
Whatever
Who knows?
You want.
Right. So there you go. Check us out. 2 weeks from now, we'll have a different crew. Might be the same guys. I don't know. It's getting harder and harder to get a different crew. Might be the same crew, but it will be different reviews. That I promise.
You'll find out.
So for Ryan and for Alex, I am Jamie, and we are out.